She died on a Wednesday morning in March. The room was quiet. The light was coming through the window the way she always liked it. And the last thing she said to me, the very last thing, was not, "I love you," not, "Goodbye," not anything poetic or cinematic the way you imagine those moments will be. She looked at me and she said, "I waited too long." That was it. 3 words. And then she was gone. I have spent 3 years trying to understand what she meant, and I think I finally do. My wife, Margaret, was 67 years old when she died. She was not old by most people's measure. She was sharp and funny and stubborn in the most beautiful way. The kind of stubborn that means she always knew exactly who she was. We were married for 41 years. I knew the sound of her breathing in the next room. I knew how she held her coffee cup with both hands, even in summer. I knew every version of her laugh, the polite one she used with strangers, the real one that came out when something caught her off guard. I knew her completely, and I still did not know the weight of what she was carrying until she was gone, and I started finding the things she had left behind. I found a notebook in her bedside drawer about a week after the funeral. It was small, dark blue, the kind you buy in a pack of 3 from a drugstore. She had used maybe 30 pages of it. It was not a diary exactly. It was more like a list she kept adding to over the years. Things she wanted to do, places she wanted to go. Not bucket list things, not skydiving or exotic travel. Ordinary things. Learn to paint watercolors. Plant a real garden, not just the practical one we had in the back. Read all of Tolstoy. Take a pottery class. Go back to the coastal town where her grandmother had lived, and just sit there for a few days and breathe. Call her college roommate Carol, who she had not spoken to in 12 years, over something neither of them could probably fully remember anymore. None of it was extravagant. None of it required much money or much planning. It was all completely within reach. It had all been completely within reach for years, and none of it had happened. I sat on the edge of our bed with that notebook, and I cried in a way I had not cried since I was a child. Not for her death, though that grief was enormous, and still is. I cried for the Tuesday afternoons that never happened, for the pottery class she mentioned once in passing, and I half listened to, and then the conversation moved on, and we never came back to it. For Carol, who I imagine is somewhere right now not knowing that Margaret thought about calling her more than once, and talked herself out of it every time, because it had been too long, and she would not know what to say. And maybe next month, when things were less busy. Margaret was a giver. That was her nature from the very beginning. She gave to our children, to our home, to me, to her parents when they were aging, to the neighbors, to anyone who needed something and was close enough to ask. She was not a martyr about it. She did not make you feel guilty for receiving. She just had this deep and genuine instinct to take care of the people around her, and she was so good at it that nobody, including me, including her, ever stopped to ask what was left over for Margaret. What did Margaret need? What did Margaret want to do on a Tuesday afternoon, just for the pure, selfish joy of it? She kept waiting for permission. That is what I understand now. She kept waiting for a moment when everyone else's needs were met, and the house was settled and the children were sorted, and there was enough money and enough time and enough quiet that she could finally, justifiably, without guilt, do something just for herself. That moment never came. It never comes. I know that now in my bones in a way I cannot fully explain to you, except to say that I watched the person I loved most in this world wait her whole life for a permission slip that the world was never going to give her. I want you to think about someone in your life right now who does this. Maybe it is your mother. Maybe it is your partner. Maybe, and I say this gently, but I need you to hear it, maybe it is you. The person who takes care of everything and everyone and keeps adding to a quiet, private list of things they want someday, and tells themselves it is not the right time yet, and believes it every single time. That person is not being noble. I know it feels like nobility. I know it looks like love. But what it actually is, underneath the giving and the waiting and the not yet, is a slow and quiet erasure of the self. And the people who love that person do not want their needs met at that price. I promise you they do not. I would have given up 1,000 comforts to have had Margaret take one Tuesday afternoon a month just for herself. I would have given anything. I think about a Saturday morning about 4 years before she died. She had mentioned the watercolor class twice that week. There was one starting at the community center, 8 weeks, Saturday mornings. She showed me the flyer. I said it sounded nice. She said she was not sure we could afford the time, and I said something vague and agreeable, and walked into the other room. And that was that. The class started without her. 8 Saturday mornings came and went, and she made breakfast and folded laundry, and did not paint a single thing. And I, God help me, did not once go back to her and say, "Sign up for the class. I will handle Saturday mornings. Go do the thing you want to do." It did not even occur to me to say that. Not because I did not love her, but because we were both living inside the same story, where her wants were optional and everything else was urgent. I am telling you this because I need you to understand something about regret. People talk about regret like it is a private thing, like it belongs only to the person who did the regretting. But Margaret's regret did not stay with Margaret. It is here with me now. It sits in the room with me. It is in the dark blue notebook that I cannot bring myself to throw away, and cannot bring myself to open again after that first time. Her unlived life is part of my grief. And I think that is true for every person who watches someone they love spend their years taking care of everyone but themselves. The people who love that person carry it too. So if you are the person who keeps waiting, I am asking you to hear this from an old man who loved his wife for 41 years and would do it differently if he could. You do not need permission. You are not being selfish by wanting things. You are not being indulgent by taking time for yourself. You are not letting anyone down by occasionally choosing your own joy. The people who love you do not want a version of you that is ground down to nothing from constant giving. They want you, the full version, the version that has things it loves and pursues them, and comes back to the table a little more lit up than before. And if you love someone who is doing this, who is quietly waiting and quietly giving, and quietly erasing themselves for everyone around them, then do not wait for them to ask. Go to them today, this week, not next month. Ask them what they want, not what they need to get done, what they want, and then help them get it. Clear the path. Take something off their plate. Say the words out loud that Margaret never heard from me often enough. Your turn. Go. I have got this. 3 words. She said I waited too long. And she was right. And I cannot change it. But you still can. The notebook is still in the drawer. I keep it there because I want to remember. I want to remember that ordinary life, the one we are all living right now, is not a waiting room. It is not the hallway before the real thing begins. This is the real thing. Right now. Today. This Tuesday. This ordinary, quiet morning is the life. And someone you love is waiting for a sign that they are allowed to live inside it fully. Give them that sign. Be that sign. Because I can promise you, from the other side of a loss that rearranges everything, that you will never once look back and wish they had waited longer. She just wanted to paint. That is all. She just wanted to sit somewhere quiet with a brush in her hand and make something that was only hers. It was not too much to ask. It was never too much.